Hi, it's John Vu, and this lesson is on Helpless from Trinity College London, Drum Kit Grade 4. So this is a piece of music by Manuel-Miranda from the musical Hamilton. Okay, so this piece is a great example of contemporary musical theatre. So looking at the sheet music in the book, you got the song title at the top of the page, and beneath the title there it says from Hamilton, just letting you know which musical show it's from. And then beneath that, to the left hand side, you've got the performance mark in there which says contemporary pop rap. Okay, so that's just letting you know the style or genre you're about to play. And then beside that it says a quarter note equals 79, so that's the tempo of the piece. So there's going to be 79 quarter note or crotchet beats per minute. So it's a fairly slow tempo. And then also beside the tempo it says 2 16th notes equal, then we've got an 8th note triplet and a 16th note triplet there, okay? So what that means is we need to shuffle the 16th notes in this piece, okay? So we need to swing those 16th notes. So instead of playing straight 16ths, which would be like this against a quarter note pulse, so if the quarter note pulse was 1, 2, 3, 4, straight 16ths would be. Okay, so if you shuffle those or swing those 16ths, the first 16th note is going to be longer than the second 16th note, and the third 16th note is also going to be longer than the fourth 16th note. Okay, so the first and third 16th, which would be on the downbeat and the and, are going to be longer than the 16th notes on the E and A. Okay, so you got this sound. 3, 4. Okay, so all of the 16th notes in this piece on the E and the A, you're going to play later than they normally would be played when we play them straight. Okay, so it's going to have that nice shuffled 16th note feel in the piece. Okay, so if we look at the first bar of music, you can see the time signature we've got is 4-4. So the 4 at the top tells us there's 4 beats in the bar. 4 at the bottom tells us each one of those beats is a quarter note. So that's the note value of the beat there. So we've got 4 quarter note beats in the bar. So we're going to feel our usual 1, 2, 3, 4, and that tempo, like I said, is going to be at 79 beats per minute. Right, now this piece is normally played on a drum machine, okay, electronic sounds. So what I've done is I've loosened off 2 lugs of my snare, okay, on the batter head here. So the 2 lugs closest to me, okay. So if you just loosen those off, you get like this fat kind of deader snare sound. Okay, and that just resembles the kind of drum machine sound that will be used in this type of piece. Okay, so just to give it a bit more authenticity, it's a good idea to do that. Okay, and it's an easy way to do it without retuning the whole drum. Okay, so just loosen off those 2 lugs and you should be able to get that sound. Okay, so looking at the first line, we've got 2 bars there. Okay, this is like an intro line here. So you just got a bass drum on the 1 of bar 1. So we're just hitting that bass drum there. Then we're resting for the rest of the bar. And in bar 2, we've got 2 8th notes on the bass drum on the 1, quarter note rest on 2, quarter note on the bass drum on the 3. Then we've got a 16th note on the snare drum on 4. And then we've got bass drum on the E of 4, bass drum on the A of 4. So you've got that syncopated rhythm there on the 4th beat, 4 E A. So that top line sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so a nice sort of line to get us set up into the start of the piece. So nice and empty, but you need to make sure that timing is secure at this tempo, and also you're getting those 16th notes with a nice swung feel. Okay, so you don't want that 4 E A. You want 4 E A. So slightly later. So again, just so you can hear a difference, I'm going to play the second bar with straight 16ths, and then the second bar with swung or shuffled 16ths. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then swung, 3, 4. Okay, so they're just shifted slightly later to give it that shuffled feel. Okay, so that's line 1. You can see the double bar line there at the end of line 1 leading into the next line. So in the next line, which starts at bar 3, you can see we've got the sign there, that Crescendo sign, so we know we're going to be coming back to this point later in the song, so we just need to make a mental note of that. And then beneath that, you've got the a rehearsal mark in there, letter A, so it's like a section of the song, so we're in section A. And then in that bar, we've got that bass drum on the 1 again, and now we're bringing in the cross stick on the backbeat on 2 there. So you're going to play cross stick on snare, so the snare cross stick there, and then we've got a bass drum on the A of 2, bass drum on the 3, and then we've got a cross stick again on the A of 3, quarter note rest on 4. So you've got a kind of syncopated backbeat sound there. So you've got the normal backbeat on 2, and then you've got that earlier of a normal backbeat, so it's like a push note on the A of 3 rather than the usual place, which would be the 4. Okay, so that bar sounds like this: 3, 4. Okay, so you really need to get used to that feel of that backbeat, that 2 and A of 3. And again, you want to make sure you swing those 16th notes. We swing the 16th note on the A of 2 on the bass drum, and also the backbeat there on the A of 3. Okay. Then in the next bar, we've got pretty much the same rhythm, but we're just adding another bass drum on the and of 1. Okay, so if we try those 2 bars, bars 3 and 4, we got 3, 4. Okay, and then in the next bar, bar 5, which is the start of the next line, we've got the same thing we just played in bar 3, and then we got a bar 6 there, we've got the 2 bass drums again, and then we got more notes in this bar, so we've got the rhythm 2E A on the second beat, so that cross stick again on the back beat, playing the downbeat of 2, and then the syncopated bass drum on the E and A, which will both be swung. And then we've got a bass drum on the 3 for an 8th note, another bass drum for a 16th on the and of 3, and then we've got that cross stick again on the A of 3, okay? So again, you're going to swing that note, 16th note rest on 4, bass drum on the E of 4, which is going to be swung because it's on the E, and then we've got an open hi-hat on the and of 4 there for an 8th note. Okay, so to take you through bar 6, sounds like this: 3, 4. Okay, so the rhythm would be 1 and 2 E, A 3 and A, E and. Alright, so if we go through that line, so bars 5 and 6, line 3 of the piece, we got 3, 4. Okay, so make sure everything's nice and clean and precise, because like I said, this part would normally be programmed. Okay, so you want to make sure the rhythm is really secure, you're locking in on all of those downbeats, and you're giving it that nice shuffled feel on the 16th notes. Okay, so that brings us to the end of section A. So what we're going to do is we're going to play through the top line, so bars 1 and 2, and then we're going to go into section A there at bar 3 and play through to the end of bar 6. So we're going to go from bar 1 to the end of bar 6, just making sure we keep the rhythm secure and get that nice shuffled 16th note feel to those 3 lines. Okay, so let's try that. And now we'll try that with a backing track. Okay, now this is an emotional song, so you want to make sure you listen to the music and really absorb the emotion of the song so you can portray it when you play the music. Okay, so straight away from the first beat of the first bar, you want to make sure you're really putting that emotion into the notes. Okay, you're giving it that nice feel. And you can see at the start of bar 1 there, you've got MF, which is short for mezzo forte. So you want to play it half loud, okay, about your normal playing level. Make sure all the notes are really secure. You're being as tight as a programmed part, as tight as you can be, okay? So be really tight with the rhythm. And again, just make sure you're giving those 16th notes that shuffled feel and you don't fall into playing them straight. Okay, so let's give first line and section A a go in time with the backing track.
Your eye from the side of the ballroom. Everybody's dancing and the band stops volume. move to the rhythm as you whine and dine. Grab my sister and whisper, yo, this one's mine. My sister made her way across the...
So now we come on to section B, which starts at bar 7. So in this section, we add in the hi-hat to the groove now. Okay, now with the hi-hat rhythm in this section, we're changing it up, okay? So we're not playing a constant rhythm. We've got combinations of 8th notes and 16th notes. Okay, so in bar 7, we've got 8th notes on the first 2 beats. So we got 1 and 2 and on the hi-hat. And you got that cross stick again playing the backbeat on 2. And then on the 3rd beat, we've got 16th notes. So again, you're going to shuffle the E and the A. So we got 3E and A. We got 3E and on the hi-hat and the A again playing that backbeat on the cross stick there. So it'll be 3E and A, that rhythm, because it's shuffled. And on the 4th beat, we've got 2 16th notes and an 8th note on the hi-hat. So that'd be 4E, A. Again, shuffle that E. All right, so just to get that hand part down for that bar, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you want to be comfortable with that rhythm there, the hand part. And then the bass drum's playing the familiar rhythm we played in the previous section, which is the 1, so playing a downbeat of 1, the A of 2, and a downbeat of 3. So that 1, A, 3. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4. One and 2 and A, 3, E and A, 4, E and. Then into the next bar, you've got 8th notes on the first 2 beats with the hands again, but this time you're playing that second bar of the bass drum rhythm where we got 8th notes on the 1. So you got 1 and then on the 3rd beat you've got an 8th note and then 2 16th notes, so that'd be 3, 8th note on the and there on the hi-hat, then we play that A on the backbeat again, that out of 3, and then we got 4 and just 8th notes on the 4th beat, and again that bass drum playing the out of 2 and the downbeat of 3 there. Okay, so we've got this 2-bar groove going on. So second bar there of the 2-bar groove, bar 8 sounds like this, 3, 4. So with the shuffled 16th notes on the out of 2 on the bass drum there, and the backbeat on the out of 3, the rhythm is 1 and 2 and A, 3 and A, 4 and. So we're going to put that 2-bar groove together, bar 7 and 8, we've got 3, 4. Okay, so you want to get that 2-bar groove down. It's pretty tricky with that bass drum because you're swinging that 16th note on the out of 2, and then you've got another bass drum on a downbeat of 3. They're 2 bass drum notes very close together. Okay, so you've got to make sure your bass drum foot's comfortable playing those 2 notes. All right, so really work on that. If you need to work on it, make sure you got those shuffled 16th notes going as well. Don't go into those straight 16ths. So keep it shuffled for that 2-bar groove. Then we come into the next line, starting at bar 9. So in bar 9, we've got that groove that we just played in bar 7. So the first bar of the 2-bar groove. And then we've got a change up in bar 10 because we're leading into another section here. So we're going to build the energy, add some more notes. Okay, so we got 8th notes with the hands throughout the whole bar. So we got 1 and 2 and backbeat on 2 there, cross stick. And then we got an open hi-hat on the 3, downbeat of 3. And then we got a flam on the and of 3. Okay, so you're going to open, hi-hat on 3, close it as you hit that flam on the and of 3. Another flam on the 4, and then we got an open hi-hat on the and of 4. Okay, so playing that hand part. So we'll put the hand part together now. So in terms of the flams, you can play whichever sticking you want. You can play a right, you can play a left, you can play left, right, you can play right, left. Okay, so it's up to you, whichever feels comfortable. So that hand part for that bar, bar 10, we got 3 and 4 and. Okay, bass drum, well, foot pattern, we've got 2 bass drums playing the 1 and the end of 1, so the same bass drum rhythm we played in the second bar of the groove. Then we got a 16th rest on 2, we got a bass drum on the E of 2 there, that's going to be played in between the hi-hat notes. And then we got a bass drum on the 3, which is played with that open hi-hat. And then we got a hi-hat with foot there on the and of 3, which is just going to close the hi-hats as we play that flam on the end of 3 there. Okay, then we got 16th note rest on 4, another bass drum on the E of 4 there. Okay, so you want to make sure those bass drums on the E's, again, are shuffled. You want to play them later. Okay, so putting in the feet, that bar sounds like this. We got 3 and 4 and. Okay, and beneath that bar, you can see we've got a crescendo. So you need to gradually get louder as you play that bar, which builds the energy for the next section. Okay, so we've been at mezzo forte, half loud. So we want to crescendo through that bar, gradually get louder. And you can see at the start of the next section, we've got an F, which is short for forte, which means loud. So we just want to raise the dynamic through this bar, bar 10, from mezzo forte to forte. So it's only one dynamic level, but we just want to make sure we're increasing that energy as we play it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll try bars 9 and 10. Sounds like this. We've got 3 and 4 and. Okay, so work through that line, that two bar line there, and then we want to put it together with the previous line as well. So we're going to play the whole of section B now, so bars 7 to bar 10, those 4 bars there. So just like before, make sure you're really tight because this is a program drum part. So you're going to be neat and tidy with the rhythm. Make sure you're keeping those shuffled feel on all the E's and A's. Okay, and you're raising that dynamic there in bar 10. All right, so let's put that together now. Try section B. And now we'll try that in time with a backing track. Okay, so this is like a verse. You want to make sure you're really secure with the rhythm, supporting the verse. And then you want to build that energy at the end of the verse there, which is taking us into a section with more energy. Okay, so make sure you're doing that in that part there. All right, so let's give that a try now. Section B in time with a backing track.
My sister and whisper, yo, this one's mine. My sister made her way across the room to you. What she gonna do? She grabbed your body, I'm thinking I'm through. When you look back at me, and suddenly I'm helpless. Oh.
So now we come on to section C, which starts at bar 11 at the top of the second page. So at the start of this section, we've got a start repeat sign. So now we're going to be coming back to this point. So we just need to make a mental note of that. Now this section, similar to the previous section, in that we've got a hi-hat rhythm played with combinations of 8th notes and 16th notes. And in this section, what we're going to do is we're going to move away from that backbeat played with the cross stick, and we're actually going to play a normal snare stroke now for the backbeat. Okay, so if you've detuned your snare head, we're going to get that nice fat deep snare sound on our backbeat now, and the backbeat's going to stay in the same place that it has been in the previous sections. Okay, so that downbeat of 2 and the out of 3. Okay, that upbeat of 3. Alright, so looking at the hand rhythm in bar 11, we got 2 8th notes on the 1, then we got 16th notes on the downbeat, 8th note on the upbeat on the 2, so we got backbeat on 2 there, then we got an E and on the hi-hat, then we got 3 for an 8th note, the and of 3, 16th note there on the hi-hat, then that out of 3 backbeat there on the snare drum, so normal snare stroke, and then we got 4 E and on the 4th beat, so that would be 4 E and with the shuffled 16th note on the E of 4 there, and we've got an open hi-hat on the and of 4. Okay, so the hand rhythm sounds like this. We got 3 and 4 and. Okay, and we got that familiar bass drum rhythm there. So we got a bass drum on the 1, the out of 2, and the 3. We got 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then the second bar of this line here, so bar 12, we've got the same thing, but we're just adding that bass drum on the and of 1 as well. Okay, so we've got that 2-bar rhythm that we played in the previous sections as well. Okay, so we're going to try bars 11 and 12 now, both with open hi-hats on the end of 4. We got 3 and 4 and. Okay, so you want to loop those 2 bars through, make sure you've really got that 2-bar groove there. And beneath bar 11, you can see we've got an F there, short for forte, which we all already mentioned, so we know we're going to be playing this loud. Okay, but in the next bar, bar 13, we've got the same bar that we played there in bar 11, so the first bar, the 2-bar groove. And then we come into the next line, starting at bar 14, so in bar 14 there, we've got the first time bar there, so the first ending. So we're just going to change it up because it's the fourth bar of the phrase. So we got eighth notes on the hi-hat on the 1 again, and we got 16th note on the 2, 16th note on the E of 2, and the 8th note on the and there. So the same rhythm we played in the previous bar. And then we got 3 E and for the third beat. So you got 3 on the hi-hat, E of 3 on the snare, and then we got the and on the hi-hat. And then on the fourth beat, 8th note on the downbeat of 4, and then 2 16th notes on the snare drum on the and the at 4. So you're going to play that right, left. Okay, so the hand rhythm there is 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 2 E and 3 E and 4 and a. And then bass drum, we got 2 8th notes on the 1 there. And then we got the at of 1 and a downbeat of 3. So that same bass drum rhythm that we had in the previous bar. And we've also got a bass drum on the a of 3 there. Okay, so putting that in, we got 3 and 4 and. Okay, so we got 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and a. So there's lots of shuffled 16th notes in that bar, so make sure you're shuffling all of those notes. And then at the end of that first time bar, we've got the end repeat sign there, so the end of bar 14, which takes us back to the start of bar 11. Okay, so we play through bars 11, 12 and 13 again, and then we go to the second time bar there at bar 15. So in bar 15, we've got a similar start to the bar as the first time ending, but we got an extra bass drum there on the E of 2. Okay, so you want to make sure you're hitting that right in unison with that hi-hat on the E of 2 as well. Okay, then in the third and fourth beat, so you got 2 8th notes on the 3 there on the hi-hat, quarter note on the 4 there. So we open that hi-hat on the back beat. So you've got snare drum in unison with that hi-hat on the 4 there. And we just got a bass drum on the downbeat of 3. Okay, which obviously we've had in the previous bars as well. Okay, so that second time bar, bar 15, sounds like this. We got 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4. Okay, so make sure you're comfortable with that bar. And then what you want to do is you want to obviously hook that up with the 3 previous bars. Okay, so if we try bars 11 to the end of the first time bar, bar 14, just to make sure we can play those 4 bars, that sounds like this. We've got 3 and 4 and. Okay, so really loop that through. Make sure you're comfortable playing that section there with the first time bar, and then we'll play it with the second time bar there, so the second ending, bar 15. All right, so we'll try bars 11, 12, 13 and 15. So that sounds like this. 3 and 4 and. Okay, so again, you want to loop through that, get really comfortable with those 4 bars, and then once you're comfortable playing them individually, those 4 bars there, you want to put them together. So we're going to play bars 11, 12, 13 and 14, and then 11, 12, 13 and 15. So that section with both the first time bar and the second time bar there. Okay, so let's try that now. And now we'll try that section with a backing track. Okay, so this section is like the chorus. There's more energy in this section, so you want to make sure you're playing it at forte. Okay, and again, just like with the previous sections, be really secure with the rhythm. Make sure that backbeat is really neat and tidy, hitting that backbeat at 2 and the at 3. Okay, and the change up bars, so in bars 14 and 15, yeah, you're playing nice and smoothly and hitting all those notes in the right places. Keep that shuffled feel on the 16th notes. Okay, so let's try that in time with a backing track.
I'm through. Then you look back at me and suddenly I'm helpless. Oh, looking into
At the end of section C, so at the end of the second time bar there, the end of bar 15, it says DS al coda, so that's short for del segno al coda. So now we need to go back to the sign, which we took a mental note of earlier, so we know where it is. It's at the start of bar 3 there, so the start of section A. So we play from the sign there, we play through bars 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and at the end of bar 10 there, after you've played that bar with the crescendo, you go to the coda. So it says to coda there. So the coda is obviously at the end of the piece. So if we look at the coda now, it starts at bar 16, which is the start of section D. So first of all, you can see we've got that start repeat sign at the start of section D. So we know we're going to be coming back to the start repeat sign. Okay, so in this section, we've got a very similar 2-bar groove to the groove that we played in section C. But the only difference is on the 4th beat, instead of playing that 4E and on the hi-hat that we had in section C, we've just got 2 8th notes on the 4th beat. So we've got 4 and. We've still got the open hi-hat on the end of 4, but this time we got it played with a snare drum. Okay, so you're going to open the hi-hat and play the snare drum in unison. Okay, so just looking at the hand rhythm in bar 16 there, we've got 3 and 4 and. Okay, and we got the same 2-bar bass drum rhythm. So we got the bass drum on 1 and the out of 2 and the downbeat of 3 in the first bar of the groove. And in the second bar of the groove, we just add that 8th note on the and of 1 as well. Okay, so we're going to try bars 16 and 17. So put the 2 bars together. And you can see beneath bar 16, we've got an F short for forte. So we play this loud, just like we played section C loud. Okay, so for those 2 bars, we've got 3 and 4 and. Okay, so really make sure you've got that 2-bar groove down, and then we move into the next bar, which will be bar 18. So bar 18 is the same as the first bar of the groove, which is bar 16. Okay, so just playing that bar again there, and then we come into another ending. So the first ending there, that first time bar, which will be bar 19. We've got a change up here, so still got 8th notes on the 1 on the hi-hat. We've still got 16 notes on the downbeat and 8th note on the upbeat on the second beat there, that 2E and, but we changed the 3rd and 4th beat in this bar. So the rhythm for those 2 beats is 3E and, 4E and, so 2/16ths on the downbeat and 8th note on the upbeat. We got hi-hat, snare, hi-hat for the 3rd beat, and then we just move the, in the 4th beat, we move that hi-hat over to the medium tom. So we got hi-hat, snare, medium tom. So you got hi-hat, snare, hi-hat, snare, medium tom. Okay, so those 2 beats, just with the hands, we got 1, 2. Okay, so putting the bass drum rhythm in, so looking at the bass drum rhythm, we got 8th notes on the 1 there, then we got a dotted 8th note on the E of 2, which we played in unison with that hi-hat. Okay, then we got a bass drum on its own on the at 3, and then there's no bass drum on the 4th beat. Okay, so the bass drum rhythm is 3 and 4 and. Okay, so we're going to put that in as well, that bass drum rhythm. So the whole of bar 19, 3 and 4 and. Okay, so make sure you've got that down nice and comfortably, and then we'll put that together with the 3 previous bars. So we're going to play bars 16, 17, 18, and the first time bar in bar 19. So we got 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then we hit that end repeat sign at the end of the first time bar there, the end of bar 19, which takes us back to the start repeat sign at the start of bar 16. So we play through bars 16, 17 and 18 again, and then we go to the second time bar, which would be bar 20. And in this bar, you're playing the same rhythm that you played at the end of section C there, so the same thing you played in bar 15. Okay, so just to remind you how that goes, we've got 3 and 4 and. Okay, in the final bar of the piece, you can see we just got a quarter note, hi-hat, snare, and bass drum in unison, and you got that marcato sign there above the bar, above the note, just letting you know to play that final note more forcefully and louder than the other notes. Okay, so a nice abrupt ending on that downbeat of one there, that quarter note. So we'll add that in. So what we'll do is we'll play through section D with a second time bar 20, and then finish with bar 21 there. So you've got 3 and 4 and. Okay, so once you got those, well, the section D with the first time bar and section D with the second time bar, we're going to put it together. Okay, so we're going to go through the whole of section D now. So this is like another chorus. So there's a lot of energy in this section. We're playing at forte. We got 2 different endings to the 4-bar sequence, and then that marcato to finish. All right, so let's try the whole of section D. And now we'll try section D in time with the backing track. Okay, so like I said, this is another chorus. You want to play it with the same energy that you played when you played in section C. Okay, you want that nice clean finish. Okay, that marcato note to finish the piece. You want it nice and clean. So just like with all the other sections, keep the rhythm precise and just make sure you're shuffling those 16th notes. Okay, so let's try that now. Section D with the backing track.
Be true, and you turn back at me and smile in helpless. Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I'm helpless. Down for the count and I'm drowning. I'm helpless. The boy is mine. The boy is mine. Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I'm helpless. I'm down for the count and I'm drowning.
So that's the whole piece. Okay, so once you can play through each section individually, you want to work on the transitions. Okay, so if we look at the song structure, you got that first line and section A, and then you want to make sure you can transition into section B nicely, okay, where the hi-hat comes in. So you want to keep that really secure time in the first line in section A because there's no hi-hat. And then when you transition into section B, you just want to work in bringing in that hi-hat. Okay, make sure you're okay with that transition, and then you want to go from section B into section C. Okay, so transitioning from that mezzo forte groove, and then building the energy at the end of section B, going into the forte section C there. Okay, so work on that transition, and then after section C, you're coming back to the sign, which is at the start of section A. So you want to practice that transition from the end of section C, which will be at forte, and then you want to bring the dynamic back down to mezzo forte when you come into section A. Okay, so work on that transition, going through section A again, and then you want to work on coming to the end of, playing through section A, and then at the end of bar 10, going into section D. Okay, so that transition from section A to section D, so you got that same dynamic change, so mezzo forte, crescendoing at the end of section A, coming into forte section of section D with that nice clean finish. Okay, so work on those transitions. Then when you can do each transition, you want to put the whole piece together. Okay, so we're going to try that now, the whole piece at song tempo without the backing track first of all, just to make sure we can play all the notes in the right places. Okay, keeping those shuffled 16th notes, keeping that feel of the piece consistent. All right, so let's try the whole of the piece now at the song tempo, 79 beats per minute. And then the final thing to do is playing the whole piece in time with a backing track. Okay, so like I said at the start, this is an emotional piece, so you really want to make sure you're really portraying the emotion in the notes that you play. Okay, so don't just play notes, make sure you're playing the music. Keep that shuffle feel going on all of those 16th notes. Keep the rhythm secure. So like I said as well at the start, this is the programmed drum part. So you want to make sure you're really locking in with the electronic percussion in this track. Be really neat and tidy. Okay, so keep the rhythm really locked in and secure. Make sure you're shuffling those 16th notes. Make sure you're portraying the energy in each section of the song. So you've got mezzo forte sections and forte sections. So really make sure you're playing the right sections dynamically correct. Okay, you're keeping everything clean and tidy. Right, let's put it all together in time with a backing track.
Your eye from the side of the ballroom. Everybody's dancing in the band, stop the volume.